Well, hello everybody, I am JayLeonardJ, and today we're going to demystify and master all the controls on the classic 5E3 Fender Tweed Deluxe circuit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a really exciting day for me. I've been wanting to talk about this for years. In fact, it was on the original list of videos I wanted to make when I first started this page, and I finally got to it now. We're talking about the 5E3 Tweed Deluxe circuit and all the magic and how to really master what's going on in there. You know, I would say personally for me, the 5E3, it really represents everything that is beautiful, exciting, unique, and completely addictive about the tube amp experience. And I'm saying experience, not sound, because you really have to experience that kind of thing. The fact that it can purr like a kitten with that perfect amount of compression when you're clean, and then when you crank it, it turns into a fire-breathing dragon, and then right at the very end of it, it turns into like a fuzz pedal, and you can actually feel the filter caps struggling to recharge themselves as you're banging out your power chords. It is a completely addictive experience. It is a cathode biased circuit, so it isn't like polite and tight. It has no negative feedback loop, so it's completely open and raw and unchained, and that beautiful transitions of gain, the different shades of gain, it's just really emblematic of the wonderful things about Tweed amps. The controls on it are completely interactive. They don't always do what you think you're telling it to do. They don't always listen to you, and when you're not even using a knob or a channel, it's still having an effect on your sound. There's so many wonderful twerks. It's like the antithesis of the digital amp technology. Digital amp technology, you know, like the modeling, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. It's, you know, completely consistent, and you know what you're gonna get. This is a living, breathing organism, these like Tweed Deluxe style amplifiers. They're just wonderful, beautiful, beautiful things. And they can be a little bit intimidating because of the fact that they are interactive with each other. And that interaction might confuse people, or they might dial something in and go, why does it sound good on some days and not good on other days? So I'm going to help you demystify what's going on over here, so that way, instead of the gear telling you what to do, controlling you, you're controlling the gear. All right, so I'm going to give you 5 essential tips on what you need to know to make sure that you're completely in control of your Tweed Deluxe sound. Now, unfortunately, I do not have an original 50s Tweed Deluxe amp, but luckily I have the next best thing. This is the RYRA Elegante, handmade in America. You got the F&T and Jupiter caps, carbon comp resistors, Hammond transformers. Oh, they're from Canada. You have to love them. Jupiter ceramic speaker, pine cab, and it's completely hand built. It's a beautiful thing and really is a perfect representation of that Tweed Deluxe sound. So we're using that. I got myself a Fender Telecaster, obviously, with my J.M.A signature pickups and String Joy strings. So let's get into the list. We're going to go 5 things, and by the end of this, I think you're going to really, hopefully, fall in love with this amp just as much as I am. Well, we're all wired up and ready to go. We're going to start off real simple with the volume tone interaction, and then get into some really interesting stuff, including my secret tone, the one that you probably haven't found that has clarity and openness to the amp. It's just super cool stuff. You might notice that the head has been removed from the cabinet. It's usually a combo, but I put it on top just so I could turn the knobs a little bit easier for the camera, and I think it looks cool. Kind of has like an Ampeg vibe to it. Let's get to work. We have 2 channels, bright, and this is the volume for it. We have normal, this is the volume for it, and a shared tone knob. There's 2 inputs. The first input is full power just into the amp out of the speaker, and then the second one, which I'm plugged into right now, is an attenuated one, and that just gets rid of some of the output of the pickups, kind of rolls it off a little bit so I'm not slamming the front end as hard. It's a very different sound, and it's good for people that have hot pickups like humbuckers or active pickups. It just gives you a little bit more breathing room. If you find that the amp's getting too farty too quick or too distorted too quick, go into the attenuated side. And this is what it sounds like actually. I'm going to go into the full range side here, the high input, and you'll hear immediately that extra amount of gain coming into the preamp, so it's pushing it more, and a little bit more of that upper end sparkle. Oh my gosh, that's the sound. And you can hear that scope here. We actually start adding gain and character, but even when I'm down low, it still has that nice compression to it. And as I turn it up, it just gets a little bit more raunchy and a little bit more raunchy. And to go with that like organic feel, if I hit it soft, it's just nice and clear. If I hit it hard, it just gives the goods. Now there comes a point where we've maxed out on the amount of volume we're gonna get. We've maxed out on the amount of gain we're gonna get. Now we just start squaring things off. We start compressing it and getting into beautiful saturation. Now we have that treble knob, the tone knob, and you'll notice it just reveals a high end. And as I reveal more high end, that's just more frequencies to push that amp with. The higher and brighter this amp gets, the more distorted it gets. And again, now we're doing with interaction. We could dial in more gain by turning this up, but it gets brighter. We have to compensate it in different ways, and that's where really the fun of the tweaking begins. That's not where all the interaction ends too. You could notice as I turn up that volume knob, not only does it get more distorted, but it gets fatter and thicker. It's almost like we get an increase in low end. So if you ever feel that your amp it needs a little bit more meat, a little bit more fatness, just turn up the volume knob and you're gonna get it. Now the tone knob is going to have less and less of an effect the higher I go up that volume knob. So if down low, you're going to hear a big range of that tone knob. But as I get closer and closer to max, it's not going to be quite as in your face and drastic. And this is where I max out here. I'm almost on full. The tone knob pretty high. I'm getting lots of gain, and it's still relatively tight. This is like that distortion rock god kind of setting. So as you can see, the higher I turn up that volume, the more and more compressed it gets. It gets a little bit more saggy and saggy. The tone knob stops being as effective the higher I get up. And eventually when we get to that real top setting, the pin setting, the tone knob is effectively out of the circuit. The bright cap and the bright channel is effectively out of the circuit. It's really just completely unleashed, and we got maximum sag to the point where it's just barely holding together, and we get a really interesting fuzz pedal kind of sound. Awesome stuff. With that bright cap out of the way, the tone knob out of the way, and just complete unleashed havoc, this is the amp at its purest form. And now we can really start hearing the effect of these tone controls on your guitar. This now turns into a sag distortion knob. I can actually keep it clean down here with a minimal sag, and as I turn it up and up and up, we get more and more. So now this is an active participant in tweaking this amp. Now let's make our way over to the normal channel. There's a couple quirky things that go on with it, and let's get into it. The normal channel doesn't have a bright cap on it, so you'll notice, especially in the early portion of that rotation, that it's just going to be overall smoother and more buttery than the bright channel. Now this is where things get a little bit funky. You know, with the tone knob, with the bright channel, we turn it up, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. With the normal channel, it gets brighter and brighter, and then darker and darker. Check this out. It gets brighter. So right around here, and then it starts getting darker. So this sounds darker. And this sounds a little bit more clear. You know, some people actually say that the normal channel has like too flubby. It's not flubby enough for them. And I think the reason why is because they go in the normal channel and they pin the tone knob and they're going, you know, they want to get more treble and it's not trebly. Just back it off a little bit and then all of a sudden you have some really, really beautiful sounds that you can play with. Now we get to the part where things really, really get fun. In fact, this is the reason why I wanted to make this video. There is a wonderful sound to this amp. It's like this boxy, chewy sound, but sometimes you want something a little bit more bell-like, a little bit more clear, not quite as barky. And this is how you can do it. Check this out. I'm back in the bright channel, and let's turn it up here. There's a nice clean sound right there. But say, you know, it's a little too gainy, we want to clear it up a little bit and maybe get rid of some of that grind down low. Check this out. I'm going to turn this down and listen to this. Nothing's plugged into the normal channel, but if I turn it up, hear that low end coming in? Get a big boost here. Get that in there and start blending in this. Wow, we could even turn up even more and you'll notice that we start attenuating the signal. Then we just bring some of this up and it's still gonna stay pretty clean. Still have this really unique character to the clean. Now that's a very different sound than this. Let's go back to here. You can hear there's a little bit more low mids, a little bit more bark. And then if I go like this, you'll hear that it just has a little bit more clarity. That's a sound I never thought you'd get in a Tweed Deluxe. It has like this nice openness. It's almost like a 60s Fender Deluxe more than like a 50s kind of sound, but it still has that tweed characteristic that we all love. It's just really, really nice. Then you could also pin this and you get a distorted character, but with that little extra clarity on the bottom. And then it also cleans up and you still get that clarity when you clean it up. Lastly, we're going to do the old Marshall trick. We're going to jumper the channels together. Yes, you can do that with the 5E3 circuit. What I did is I have my guitar in the bright channel, and then I'm taking an out from the second input all the way to the first input of the normal channel. And now you can hear we can get both of these working at the same time. This is the bright channel. And then we could bring in the normal channel. Now, do you remember how I told you that with the normal channel, it actually gets darker as I turn it up? So I could actually turn up the tone. Now I have an extra bright channel here and an extra dark channel, more like colors to play with. And that is how you master the 5E3 circuit. Well, that is it. That is the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe to the page if you haven't done so already. Check out the links in the description below. And if you want to hear my review on the RYRA Elegante, actually, please check it out on Patreon. I do all my reviews on Patreon, sponsored by the Patreon supporters, and all my demos, tutorials, everything else. It's on YouTube. So my question for the subscribers today is, when we're talking about the predictability and the tweakability and the interaction, do you like it when you have your gear and, the old style circuits that talk to each other and there's all these like hidden sounds and little like avenues of creation to explore? Or do you actually just want your gear to do exactly what it says? You want the the labels to do exactly what it wants us. You want complete predictability and straightforwardness. So please write in the comments section below. That being said, I'll see you all soon. Take care and goodbye.